If you've been living under an AV receiver for the past few years, you may not have heard of Sonos. But if you're caught up on the current set of products that Sonos offers, then you know they're sort of the Apple of the speaker world. Sonos speakers are easy to install, easy to set up, and although Sonos hardware typically comes in at sometimes eye-watering prices, their focus on quality and performance helps justify the high cost of entry. But this video isn't about all the things Sonos speakers do now. It's about what I and some others think Sonos can offer to continue to solidify their place in the home entertainment space. What's up guys, Jonah Mathis here. I make videos on soundbars, home entertainment tech, and more. In cases like this, I go deep into different areas of home entertainment tech to bring a fresh opinion on things. If you could, take 1.3 seconds to smash the like button. I'd really appreciate it. This helps my channel out tremendously. Let's get on to the video. Now I'm sure a lot of you watching this video are already aware of what Sonos offers at this point, so I'm not gonna waste any time. The first few things on my wish list for Sonos are all around their current product offerings and where they could add just a little something to make it all even better. Let's look at the bread and butter Sonos speaker that most people start with, the Sonos One SL. This is a great no-frills experience when it comes to home audio. Simple touch buttons on top, a clean design that fades into the background, and nothing more than a power connector and Ethernet port in the back for I/O. Comes in whatever color you want so long as it's white or black. Now standalone, the Sonos One SL is great. It's also the most common speaker used as surrounds in a home theater setup. And it sounds really great here too. But me, and certainly many others, want something a little better than this for our home theater setups. This leads me into my first wish item from Sonos, which is a speaker very similar to the Sonos One SL, but with both a front-firing and upward-firing driver. Many of the high-end Dolby Atmos soundbars out there that the Sonos Arc surround system is directly competing with, by the way, have surround speakers exactly like this. Like, don't get me wrong, the hide effects from the Sonos Arc soundbar are pretty darn good, but it sometimes struggles to perform well against others in this area. With surround speakers that have upward firing drivers built in, it would be no contest. I've seen a ridiculous amount of comments from people mentioning this, so I know for sure that this product would do very well for them. Definitely not the same numbers as the One SL, but it would make their standard home theater setup much more compelling. So here's what the Sonos One SL looks like, by the way. Again, touch buttons on top. But what that would look like is we have these front drivers already here, but instead of these touch buttons on top, we could move those to either the front logo here, down at the bottom, but then have an upward firing driver here that's firing at an angle like this. This would be ideal for a surround speaker that works great with a Dolby Atmos setup. Next, I would love for Sonos to expand the capabilities of connecting surround sound speakers to a system. As of right now, you can only have a single set of surround speakers connect to one of their soundbars or to the Sonos Amp. The real dream is to connect two sets of surround speakers to a system so that there would be a total of 4 surround speakers. The positions would be surround left and right, which would be like directly to the sides of the main seating area, and surround back left and surround back right. These would be located right behind the main seating area. Now it's pretty obvious that this setup isn't for everyone, or at least the mass majority of people. This type of setup is much more practical for a dedicated media room or an actual home theater room. Most living rooms won't be able to properly accommodate a system like this. But that's probably one of the reasons why Sonos doesn't offer this as an option. It's a pretty rare scenario that only a small portion of their users would actually utilize. But then again, they did add support for using 2 Sonos sub in a single home theater setup not too long ago. And I think that's a pretty rare scenario as well, because a Gen 3 Sonos sub comes in at a whopping $700. So we'll have to see about this one, but we can only hope. So I've mentioned the Sonos Amp already, but let's quickly go over how it works and what it's used for currently. Then I'll get on to what I'd like to see Sonos do. The Sonos Amp is basically a smart amplifier or receiver. It has right and left channel speaker outputs in which you can connect traditional speakers to. An HDMI ARC port, analog RCA ins, a subwoofer output, which is very rare for a Sonos product by the way, and Ethernet in and out. It can currently be used in 3 different ways. Playing only music through it with RCA ins, AirPlay, Spotify Connect, etc. You can create a simple stereo speaker setup or an even better 2.1 channel setup by connecting a wired subwoofer to it or wirelessly connecting a Sonos sub to it. 2. Connecting it to your TV via HDMI ARC. you're able to connect 2 speakers to the amp and a wired subwoofer or a wireless Sonos sub. But now you can also connect surround speakers to it. You're able to pair basically any set of Sonos speakers and use them as dedicated surround channels when watching movies or TV. And that goes right into the last way it's used, and that's by using the Sonos Amp to play the surround channels when paired with one of the Sonos soundbars or even another Sonos amp. So you can actually use 2 Sonos Amp in a single home theater setup, one playing the front 2 channels and one playing the 2 surround channels. Now I'm sure some of you know exactly where I'm going with this. When you have 2 front channels of audio and 2 rear channels of audio, this creates a 4.0 channel setup. This could possibly be a 4.1 or 4.2 channel setup if you add in subwoofers. The odd thing here is that a 4-channel setup is very weird in surround sound environments. We're missing one of the main and most important channels, the center channel. This provides a majority of the dialogue when watching movies, TV, etc. It's great for listening to music, but not ideal for most people that invest into home theater systems. So with that said, I'd love to see Sonos create a new 3-channel Sonos amp with a left, center, and right channel of audio. Or even better, a Sonos receiver. Now that would be dope, but pretty unlikely to actually happen. With a setup like this, you could connect any of your own speakers to the 3-channel amp, then wirelessly connect your Sonos speakers or a 2-channel Sonos amp to use as surrounds. This would be really awesome. I do have one more complaint about the Sonos Amp though, and this could definitely be fixed purely with the software update. And that's allowing the subwoofer output port to work when the Sonos Amp is used to play surround speakers. For some reason, they disable the sub out port only when the amp is used for surrounds, but it works in all other cases. There's no reason that a wireless Sonos amp shouldn't be able to receive the subwoofer channel info and be able to pass it along to a wired sub. I think it's purely like this so that they can sell more Sonos subs, to be honest. The next one can also be changed purely with a software update. I'd love to be able to use any of Sonos' speakers as additional front channels. Most people would likely opt for Sonos One SLs, but more adventurous folks may go with the Sonos 5s. I would definitely try this out. I believe these additional front channels would be labeled as front wide left and front wide right. This would definitely one-up the Sonos home theater experience even more. Yes, the Sonos Arc has side-firing speakers on it, but most people don't have optimal rooms for the sound to bounce around properly. Plus, when you combine the Sonos Arc with Sonos 5s as surrounds, the 5s are pretty overpowered when compared to the Arc. Just another awesome feature I'd love to see. This would be another step up for the Sonos home theater experience. And last on my wish list is something I've seen many people choose not to go with Sonos because of, and that's Trueplay for Android. And get this, Sonos even says on their support page that if you don't have a supported device, you can just borrow one from someone else to tune your products. I just have so many questions about this. First, is this a good experience for the consumer here? It just seems very strange. I love the idea of someone who has a PC, an Android phone, maybe a Fire tablet as well. I just love the idea of that person having to go find their iPhone friend and basically convince them about like, oh, can you come over with your iPhone and please tune my $1,800 surround sound system? It just sounds absurd. Sonos doesn't play as nicely with Android devices as it does with Apple devices. The app works just fine, don't get me wrong, but not being able to properly tune your very expensive soundbar or home theater setup simply because you have an Android phone instead of an iPhone is just dumb. Sonos is a large enough and a smart enough company where they can figure out a solution for this. I think a simple solution for this is to just sell a cheap microphone that comes with various connectors so it can be connected to any Android phone. Then just have it clipped to the top of the Android phone so the user can run the Trueplay process exactly as an iPhone user would. This way, they don't have to worry about which microphone the device has, and they only have to worry about tuning with one specific microphone for Android. Now, this definitely isn't an elegant solution, but I think it would be very helpful for the massive Android user base that's out there. The ideal solution, of course, is to just natively support a majority of the top Android phones out there. This is a lot more work and testing for Sonos, but it makes the most sense and is a much better user experience. So again, that's 6 different things I'd love to see from Sonos. 1. Surround speakers with upward firing drivers built in and used for height channels. 2. The ability to have 2 sets of surround speakers in a home theater setup. 3. A Sonos amp or Sonos receiver with 3 channels of audio. 4. Enable the Sonos amp subwoofer output when it's used as surround speakers. 5. Allow us to use Sonos speakers as additional front channels of audio when using a soundbar. And 6. Trueplay tuning for Android users. Now, do I actually expect Sonos to make any of these changes? We'll see. I think 2 of these may actually happen, but again, we'll see. I do want to play a game here though. Leave a comment down below listing which of these you think will actually happen in the near future and what feature you would like to see from Sonos, whether it's something that I mentioned or something completely different. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.